All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Hideout, episode 29, Web3 Gaming and the Metaverse. We're here with two panelists today. We're going to have a really great discussion of Web3 gaming and some of the awesome stuff these projects are doing. We have Nine Lives Arena and Alterverse. So we'll get started real soon. We're gonna do some introductions. Everybody can kind of give a little bit of information on themselves, on the project, but I'm super excited to get into this. I just finished at 3XP last weekend, and it was pretty cool out in LA. It was a Web3 gaming focused convention, and I got to see some of these games for the first time in action. That was exciting. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But for those of you who don't know me, I am Nick Frontera. I am the CEO of Apollo Entertainment and the project lead for Satoshiverse. We are a blockchain-themed superhero universe, and for the last 2 years, we have been building a roguelike action RPG called Satoshi's Legion. So if you are excited about gaming in Web3, check out the socials, check out the website, but that's all I'll say for now about our game. What I really am excited to get into is our two awesome panelists. So why don't we start with Nine Lives Arena? Give us a quick introduction and then tell us a little bit about the project.
Yes, hello. Thank you, Nick, for inviting me again. So my name is Ralph, and I'm the CEO and creative lead of Nine Lives Arena. I'm a hardcore gamer since Pong, so I'm a little bit older than probably a bunch of you. And I have been working in the games industry since 30 years. And we formed our own studio in Canada like around 6 years back, and we have been working on Nine Lives Arena ever since. It's a passion project. It's a hardcore PvP game that introduces the world's first online-offline companion called an Oogie. And these Oogies, they do all the resource grinding for you. They're NFT based, and they work for you even when you're offline. So they level up. Their NFT gets more valuable because they can now get better at crafting better quality, get better at gathering stuff, and we also offer blueprints, so that allows on NFTs. These are crafting recipes that allow players to craft skins as NFTs in the game, and Oogies are everybody's personal employee, their sidekick, and the Oogies do all the resource gathering and craft these NFTs for players to sell on the market. And beside that, it's all about PvP, one versus one, with permadeath, a complex permadeath loop. So there's a lot of to get really nitty down to a complex permadeath loop around PvP.
Amazing. I love it. I've definitely seen the game. I've checked it out. It's looking awesome. I love some of the ideas. We have some intersection with like the forging and the blueprint. So I'm really awesome. I think it's awesome that you guys are doing that. And then I love the idea of the Oogies. I'm definitely want to talk more about that because I think it's a really unique way of. I think we talked about this the last time you were on, getting around some of these bots and things that might plague the gaming industry. I think you guys are doing a lot of really cool stuff and innovative stuff there. So really happy to have you on. Jeff, let's talk about Alterverse. Excited to hear more.
Hey, good to be on here again. So, my name is Jeff. I lead all of the business development and partnerships at Altiverse. At our core, we are a Web3 game development company building all of our games and experiences on Unreal Engine, which maybe most of you know, maybe you don't, but that's the engine that powers Fortnite. And really, it's the gold standard in the industry for graphics and frame rate and all of that good stuff that creates beautiful worlds. And we are introducing the no code Web3 game creator. It is a groundbreaking tool in the industry. There really isn't anything like it, especially utilizing the power of Unreal Engine. Individuals with no coding experience and game development companies too will be able to create their own Web3 games at a fraction of the cost and a fraction of the time using our infrastructure that we built. A little bit about myself. I've been at Altiverse since March of last year. Before that, I created my own peer-to-peer gambling company, sold that off. I've also been involved in esports, whether it's investing or various projects for the past 10 years. I used to play FIFA in leagues in North America and the UK in a past life, which was pretty crazy. I'm based in Vegas, so go Golden Knights. That's if they win tonight, that's going to be the strip is going to be an absolute madhouse. So I'm pretty excited to watch the game tonight. But back to Altiverse. So our first gaming experience is called Sky City. It is a massive multiplayer online social sandbox game. You can also give it similar properties to a metaverse, although for better or worse, the metaverse has gotten a really bad rap over the past 6 to 12 months, just whether it's for some bad actors or just bad um, gameplay or just not a lot going on. We really are doing things differently. Though in Sky City, there's going to be 20 plus mini games upon launch. We just had our first closed beta session over the weekend that went very well. And we're going to be having our next closed beta session in 2 weeks. And we're really excited to stress test our servers even more than we did in this version. So, Sky City is currently in closed beta phase. We're expecting a full release in August, September timeframe. Along the same lines, we're creating two standalone games that will be released in 2023. The first one is an esports shooter in space called Outpost, and the second game is a hardcore survival RPG game called Wrecked. And you are on a doomed planet, and you're trying to get survivors and try to get them off the planet, and you're going to be surrounded by monsters and all sorts of various creatures trying to kill you. But both of those games are targeted more towards the Web 2 gamer, which Outpost is a little bit more competitive esports, just more multiplayer. Where Rect is more the story mode, but yeah, it's the final part of 2023 and 2024 is really when the no code Web3 game creator is going to really come into play. And at the end of the day, our mission is to create millions of Web3 games.
No, I absolutely love it. I was looking at the website again today. I've been following for the last several months, and the world you guys are creating is absolutely beautiful. We're also building in Unreal, and I'm a huge fan of everything that Unreal is bringing to the table and what the future of gaming is going to look like. But I think particularly, with the metaverse and metaverse experiences in general, I got involved back in the blockchain space because of metaverses with Decentraland all the way back in 2017. And I remember, all of the Ready Player One, kind of dreams I had about what the metaverse could be and how blockchain would fold into that. I think Decentraland was a great step in the first direction, but didn't quite get to that gamified, playground that I think that the world wants and needs when it comes to metaverse. So really excited to see that you guys are focusing on gamification in your metaverse experience. With I don't know if you guys ever draw GTA as kind of a comparison, but I think that if metaverses are going to survive, that's kind of the model. Give people things to do while they're running around. So yeah, so really, again, really excited to have you on. This is going to be a fun one, I think. And then I guess last, let's have Spencer over on the Apollo account introduce yourself, and then we could dive into the questions.
Hey guys, thanks Nick. So my name is Spencer Vogel. I have been involved in crypto since 2017, and I've been working with Apollo and on the Satoshiverse project for a couple years now. I also just want to say I invested in both of your pre-sales for both of your games, so it's been very exciting watching your progress over the years, and excited to hear more today. So getting into our first question, it's going to be a question for everyone in the group. So I'm sure you've seen a lot of the recent announcements around Apple's big presentation last week about the Vision Pro goggles. And I was wondering what you thought about the technology and how you think that might have an impact on the Web3 space. And anybody can just jump in, by the way.
I can go first. So I feel like, I haven't gone as deep as I want to on that announcement. I kind of hit it at the surface level. I think it was kind of a mixed bag of emotions. I think on the plus side, it's awesome to see companies like Apple releasing AR and VR capable products, and because that means that there's going to be a ton of infrastructure built around it. Hopefully, app capabilities to continue to scale their AR infrastructure, and really, I think a commitment to making AR and VR a thing. And I think we need that from the biggest companies in the world if we are going to continue to scale these more boutique experiences, and as independent studios, we have to rely on technology that are being built by the biggest names in the technology industry. And we talk about Unreal, for example. I don't think we would see the level of product if Unreal didn't exist. And so it's so important that the big players continue to see this as the future. I think the mixed bag kind of comes from the fact that uh, I think AR has to get a lot prettier for people to actually use it. I was a little bit confused by what their target market is with a $3,500 product that's big and bulky and ugly, and that you definitely won't be wearing out on the streets anytime soon. So I've seen AR prototypes that look a lot more just like glasses, and I think this mixed VR AR experience that they're going for with a really kind of high end consumer target market tells me that this is just their toe in the water product, and that, like the iPhone, this is going to get iterated upon endlessly if they see it as a potential opportunity. I don't think they're targeting the general consumer with this product, although their marketing seems to indicate that they are. I don't think that this is going to be appealing to your everyday person who's going to be like, what the heck am I going to do with a $3,500 pair of AR VR goggles? I think it's going to be quite a while before you see that sort of mainstream adoption catch on. But for nerds like me who like VR and AR, I'll probably end up getting one and trying it out at some point.
Yeah, to your point, yeah, I echo your sentiments on this being a mixed bag. The positive I could definitely see is if this is incorporated for sporting events and live concerts and those kind of live events. I'm very interested to see how those experiences would turn out, because I have to imagine that, yeah, with a $3,500 price tag, you think that Apple would, um, yeah, push the limit in terms of graphics, realistic environments. At least I would hope so. And yeah, on one hand, when it comes to gaming, it's kind of a wait and see. I don't know where they're going to go in the gaming market with these goggles. Uh, I, I'm a little worried that it's going to kind of be closed off to where games that are in Unreal, or even just compile on the PlayStation or whatnot, they're going to make it a little difficult to kind of have that cross play feature in it. Also, I noticed the goggles, and I've only seen images and just people wearing them, but my personal feeling is that I would have liked to see them a little bit smaller, like actually wearable without like something going all around your head, like true goggles. And the price point, $3,500. Um, I don't think that right away it's going to catch on mainstream. I personally think that if it came down another, probably by half, it'll that's when people are really just going to flock to it. But again, they they have their own reasons for pricing it. I know they've done a lot their own research, so yeah, I guess it's kind of a wait and see. It's cool that they definitely brought something out to challenge the Quest and some of the other VR headsets on the market. Personally, though, I'm still most excited about the Omni 360 treadmill, which is seeming is I think it's at a lower price point, but you're actually on a treadmill, 360 degrees to scope around that for a true gaming experience.
Yeah, I think these Omni treadmills are freaking awesome. I think that's the future. I think it's going to be, that's what you need. You need to broaden the space, right? For VR to really work, you have to be able to experience it in a smaller, area, right? And so you definitely need those treadmills to make that happen. But yeah, I agree. I mean, this does feel more like a Quest competitor than it does a standalone AR headset, which is, it's where that's where I felt like, I got a little bit of a mixed bag because a lot of their marketing is focused on the AR components of this device, and I'm just not sure that I see it as a true AR device. For me, core requirement for an AR device that you're going to wear outside of your home is that you can actually wear it outside of your home without looking ridiculous, right? So I feel like, this seems like an at-home AR device, and so things like you said, whether it's more VR, where it's sporting events and whatnot, that could be the power that Apple brings. It could be that they have Apple TV has a deal with a lot of major sports leagues. Maybe they're putting 360 cameras on the touchline, at MLS games and whatnot, and you're getting that kind of center field experience on these games, and maybe those partnerships are really how they're going to drive the value here. But I could buy a pretty awesome TV for $3,500 and not have this headset around. So I feel like they really do need to come hard with the software and the apps that this thing is going to be able to tap into if it's going to justify the price point. So I'm excited at the direction, but I'm not quite sure that even as a AR enthusiast and VR enthusiast that it's quite there. But I agree on the treadmills. I think that's what we really need to open this all up.
Yeah, I mean, I see that the Apple Music too. Like, I could easily see a lot of collaborations, whether it's just more intimate recording sessions or, like I mentioned earlier, the concerts. Yeah, that could really be their bread and butter and be a big revenue driver. But yeah, I'll let the others speak more on it.
Yeah, hi. I take a little bit of a different take on this as a hardcore gamer. I actually fail completely to see the use case. Their gaming advertised with this is on a flat screen, 100-inch in front of you. Um, it's not 3D gaming. It's in a 3D room playing on a flat screen. That's traditional gaming in augmented reality. I'm a hardcore VR fan. I have over 1,500 hours with Elite Dangerous in VR, and I'm one of the early adopters of VR. I have VR headsets pre-ordered since the first one that ever came out. And this is not that. This is not for a gamer to connect to your PC and have the best kind of VR experience at all. There are, in fact, no VR games that are supported right now that are interesting. It's just on a flat screen. So on a flat screen, I already game on a 230-inch screen with a projector that costs a third of what this costs. And I can just put diving Googles on top, and I have the experience that this thing gives me. So as a gamer, there's nothing for me except it's much more expensive than what I can already do. And as a TV enthusiast, watching it instead of on my TV on a in augmented reality on a TV, I don't get that either. So even if you have a sports event, you still watch it on a flat screen that is a virtual flat screen as compared to a normal flat screen. And I don't know what they were thinking. I mean, it was also initially branded as the Metaverse headset, and then they changed it to Sparkle Computing last minute because what Jeff said earlier, because of the late bad vibes that coming across with metaverses, and I don't see the use case. As a gamer, I would buy it if it was giving me something new. It doesn't. I agree with Jeff 100%. A treadmill I want since ages, right? I want to be able to run around and be more immersed. And seeing my room around me is doing the opposite. I don't get more immersed. The great thing about VR is I don't see my room anymore. I'm completely in my spaceship, flying around, fighting other players, landing on planets. That's immersion. This AR headset doesn't do any of that. So it's a different consumer they are going after. And I don't know what the main use case is that will drive this in the future. Yeah, so that's my take on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all kind of have a similar feeling about this, which is a little, sad and scary for Apple, because we are all enthusiasts. I mean, I had a similar feel. Like I have my Rift, which connects into my 3090, and when I want a game, that's the gaming experience, right? I want to be fully immersed. I want a VR experience, and sure, I'd love for the Rift to be a little better and not have all the cords and require all the setup, but it's a hell of a device if I'm trying to do VR gaming and then explore, VR metaverses. For me, AR is just a completely different product and use case. And you could have AR gaming. For example, I think something like Pokemon Go would be incredible in AR, but it's a different product, right? When I think about AR gaming, I think about something that's very sleek, something that looks like Ray-Bans or Oakley glasses, that you would wear, and people may not even know that they're AR glasses, but they're giving you turn by turn directions or allowing you to tap into more simple mobile type of games, and maybe it's syncing up with your phone or it's actually powered by your phone's processor in some way, and there's some sort of it's just functioning as a display. I think the mistake is combining the two, or trying to combine the two, to give you these like really immersive experiences with a kind of hybrid AR VR device. I think they're just different, right? And I think that a VR device, it's okay if it's a little bigger and clunkier and has a screen and goes around your head, because you're experiencing that in your home in a closed setting, and you really want to push the limits. But with an AR device, I really think it has to be wearable. I think it has to be sleek. It has to be something that you feel comfortable putting on without feeling ridiculous. And I think that unfortunately, Apple might get some blowback on this, and that won't be great for the industry if the biggest player takes a huge risk and falls on their face. So I'm rooting for them. I really want this to succeed. It's just my initial impression was this is cool, but same thing. What's the use case? What are people really going to spend the money to use this for?
Yeah, I mean, if I had to predict, the more that I think about it, if I think that Apple is really going to lean into the live event aspect, and not so much the gaming aspect. It just from the videos that I saw on it, and just from their current partnerships with, like you mentioned, MLS. I think they're going after. Um, I want to say they're going after the next NBA contract. I think they missed out on Thursday night football for the foreseeable future, but Apple Music, whatnot, I think they're probably going to lean more into the live event aspect, unless they get a lot of blowback on it and make serious changes. That's just my prediction.
Yeah, I'll also add. So not sure if you saw it, but Bob Iger, who's the CEO of Disney, he actually came out on stage during the keynote. So they're actually partnering with Disney for content, pretty much for the device. So at least from my perspective, it seems like it's more of like a home entertainment device, more focused around that side of it, less around the gaming. But at least that's my perspective on it.
And I think it's for single people, right? Because if you watch a live event, it's a bunch of beer with a bunch of friends in front of a big TV, and you watch a sports event. if you are in your Googles on your own, is everybody wearing Googles to watch it instead of watching it together on a shared experience at the live event? I don't understand this. It's if I'm alone at home, maybe that's something, and I don't have a TV, and I get them, but I still would rather get a projector and have a much bigger screen because it's limited to 100 inches max, right? So yeah, I don't know. It puzzles me.
All right. Well, moving on to getting onto some of our individual questions here. So my first question is to Jeff. So Altiverse is producing multiple games, as you said, for its ecosystem, but also allowing players to create their own gaming experiences. So how is Altiverse planning to balance having consistency through its ecosystem while also giving creators autonomy to be creative and build?
Yeah, so just to give a little bit of context, at least for the beginning, we have certain, I guess you could call it industries of games that are more plug and play. If you ever play anything on the Epic Game Store, which by the way, we'll be launching on the Epic Game Store as well, there are a lot of similar controls between games, like W, holding down W is moving forward, A and D is side to side, and S is walking backwards. So, we have shared those similar controls as well. Just for anyone that's been on the Epic Game Store, anyone that's played games on Unreal, yeah, it kind of has that same familiar feel to it. Uh, so, just some examples of our plug and play templates include battle royales, first person shooters, car racing games, helicopter games, mechanical based action games, survival games, as well as various metaverse social experiences as well. And we'll constantly evolve over the next 5 years, which includes porting over to VR, AR, um, console base, which is another great aspect of Unreal 5 to begin with. So we're sticking with those templates to start for our game creators, but we'll constantly be adding more features, um, more types of games. Sports games will be definitely be a big thing on that we want to add in the future. But really, other than that, the possibilities are endless. And we've acquired tens of thousands of assets on the Unreal Engine marketplace over the years, just to help people with ideas on how to build various universes. But really, yeah, the power is in the hands of the player. And yeah, I'm really excited. There's going to be, think Sky City, Las Vegas. That's kind of like something I really want to build, but also building futuristic worlds of other countries and cities. Yeah, we're already in discussions with city chamber of commerces to create these virtual type of worlds that um, can add to a tourist experience or just add to the entire experience for locals as well. Hopefully crossing into live events in the future. Um, I think that this will evolve immensely once the AR and VR goggles are pretty, they're easy to wear. They're cost effective. I'd say under $1,000, or kind of what the iPhone is now. Kind of those price points will be when it'll the true um, metaverse experience and true gaming experiences can really come to life. Some of that Ready Player One experience, and the I also want to mention that we are going to be integrating AI based NPCs, which is really exciting. We've been testing it out with a great partner and going to start releasing that in our closed beta stages. So this could be a human or robot. This could be something as simple as a store greeter. in a metaverse type experience where individuals will walk up to the AI NPC, ask it questions, and the conversation will constantly evolve. And there's mechanisms to guard against trolling because being a gamer, I really like trolling and I like breaking things. So there are mechanisms in place to prevent people from asking just complete nonsensical questions or trying to get it to say like terrible things. Um, but so that's a really nice feature. Uh, so it could be humans, it could be pets. We'll be integrating AI pets, AI companions, as animals, as well as AI based enemies. So there's mission. Think of if there's a mission to, uh, kill this common enemy or kill this demon or whatnot, and uh, everyone figure out the easiest way to kill it. Well, it can evolve so that you have to figure out other ways to kill it, or maybe it's out in the open. Maybe the enemy will decide, hey, I'm gonna start hiding behind stuff or be more stealthy. So I think with the integration of AI into Web3 gaming, that's also going to be another key feature in the future.
Yeah, I mean AI that's so big, right? The potential that it has to kind of completely change these metaverse experiences and like you said, make them so adaptive. I feel like, AI NPCs are such an interesting use case, and I think it was the Nvidia recently, the keynote where they're releasing some really advanced NPC technology that is, for AI based NPC technology, that's incredible, and we're definitely looking into
Yeah,
that too. It's
yeah.
definitely
I was
exciting.
just going to say the company that released it in partnership with Nvidia is the same company we're going to be using.
Amazing. That's awesome.
Convey it's CONVAI. Is their how you spell their company name. But yeah, they're the company that created the AI based NPCs for NVIDIA that they released. So yeah, that's
Amazing.
yep.
Yeah, they look awesome. It's going to be. I think we'll see kind of that'll become standard practice in the next several years. But I think that the journey to getting there is going to be fun to see initial iterations of AI NPCs in games. And so I'm definitely excited to see what you guys do. I'll have to reach out about getting access to that closed beta because that sounds super exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, yeah, it's right on our website that if for anyone else listening in to hear altiverse.com early access. So again, we just finished our first stage of closed beta testing late last night. So you won't be able to download anything right now, but we'll be opening it back up in a couple weeks, tentatively June 23rd. So, and I can also share links after the chat.
Yeah, actually, I was going to say, and I had forgotten to say this before, if there is anything you guys want to post to the Twitter Spaces, I'm going to quickly actually post a little bit of our gameplay footage, but please feel free, drop something in there so that everybody in the audience can see what you're building. If you have a tweet with a thread or something like that, I'm going to pin one now, but please feel free to do that.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeff. So moving on to Ralph. So as you mentioned before in your intro, you have some really interesting game mechanics like permadeath, persistent progression, crafting. So I was curious, how does building on blockchain and kind of the actual technology enable these types of mechanics in the game in ways that weren't possible in Web 2?
Well, I wouldn't say it's not possible. It's just we can empower the gamer much more than we could ever do in Web 2. In Web 2, you couldn't really offer the gamer's true item ownership and secure trading, which we can with blockchain. That's why in the past, it was always illegal to trade anything on your account. You could, and it wasn't really possible because it was so easy to scam. Like in 1997, Ultima Online came out in like by 2000, early 2000. I bought an item on eBay from somebody in the game, and I had to meet the guy after, so I had to send him $200, go in the game, meet him, and if he had never shown up, which is a common scam back in the day, you lost the $200. The only reason I did it was because you so badly want something, right? You really believe in certain items and their utility in a game that you're willing to pay a certain amount of money. But I was lucky. I was one of the lucky ones. The guy was honest. He met me in the game and he gave me the stat scroll for my guy, right? So ever since I understood, the value of virtual items, that's why I instantly understood Bitcoin. People would already be trading the in-game gold, right? And eventually, there was a dupe bug, and people would just dupe the money, and there was inflation, and then of course, what you bought for a lot of money yesterday was worth half the money tomorrow because of the dupe bug. You can't dupe bitcoins, you can't dupe an NFT, right? So it takes out all this, but it gives you still this power as a gamer to be able to own something, play with it, around with it, and then eventually when you leave the game you sell it, right? So that got us spinning. Well, why instead of just making skins NFT based, and us selling NFT based skins, players can buy them. It's an improvement to in the past. You bought skins, but you could never resell them. Now you own the skin. When you stop playing, you can sell it. I was thinking, no, we need to do it more interesting. So I thought we do a crafting recipe as an NFT, and it's limited. There might be only 9 of this one, or only 49 in the world. So now you, as the gamer, you actually craft the skins. So our whole in-game economy is the whole monetization around skins is in the hand of the player base. We don't sell skins; players craft skins and make a living out of it. If they want, if one day that might be possible, I don't know. I cannot talk about. I don't know what the market dynamics will be in terms of how much money you can make. But of course, you will be able to craft these skins and sell them. And right now, skins alone are a $30 billion industry within the games industry. Fortnite did $1 billion in the first year selling skins. So there's definitely a market for skins. And then we took it another step forward. We all did so much resource gathering in MMORPGs that we played in the past, and we kind of playing into this audience of gamers that really like to engage fully into a game and be immersed for long periods of time. So, and because we are now older, the average gamer is in his mid 30s. We have families, we have jobs, we can't. But so the idea of Oogie was born, and Oogie is an NFT that levels up, gets more valuable, but is your little sidekick, and he does all this resource gathering and grinding for you, even while you're offline. So your wife doesn't know you're spending so much time because you go to the bathroom, you check on your Oogie, because we're also making a mobile app to check on your Oogie while you're away from the game, and you check, oh, you got all these resources, now craft me 5 helmets, then you put the phone back, and tomorrow when you log back into Nine Lives Arena, you have all these crafted items ready. Maybe some you use, or maybe some you put on the marketplace and trade with other players. So the whole economy is based around crafting recipes and oogies, and these are player owned. These can be traded. These gain in value. And yeah, that's the whole concept of giving the power into the hands of the players around in-game items and an in-game economy. And it's secure. It's secure trading. Nobody can dupe anything. Nobody can scam you by not giving you the whatever you want to buy, because it's a smart contract. You get it, right? So that's what Web3 really opened, to play on the power of virtual items and really give them into the hands of the players.
Awesome. Love the response, and I love the passion around all of it. So next question is to Nick. Nick, can you tell us about what is coming next in the next couple months for Satoshiverse?
Yeah, so we've been building like crazy. It's been a crazy last few months for our team since we released phase two. In the next, let's see, 3 to 4 weeks, we're going to have our phase three release, which is going to add additional content. There's going to be a new gang to fight through in the outskirts. I think we're targeting level 20, so you'll be able to get up to level 20, either 15 or 20, depending on where we land. And then you'll be able to fight a new boss with a really interesting new dynamic that we've introduced to the game. So we're super excited get that out there and get feedback. We'll be opening access to the game to all of our collectibles holders within our Satoshi's Collectibles collection. So that's more than 75,000 unique wallets that can potentially play the game in this next version, all leading up to a push that we're going to be making for later this summer. That'll be our a major partnership and collector release, and that'll also be when we're planning on going live with items on mainnet. So we're super excited. That'll be basically what we consider to be a somewhat finalized, at least as finalized as an alpha can be, version of our game that we feel comfortable taking the items and the progression onto the blockchain. So super excited. These are going to be a really action-packed next 3 or 4 months. I think we're going to see a lot of really cool excitement in the gaming space in the next 3 to 6 months, just based on other projects and their release timelines. So I do think we're going to see after this summer kind of a reigniting of interest in the Web3 gaming space, especially within consumers within the space. So really excited that we're going to be ready to go live by that time. And yeah, so it's a gauntlet to get there, but we're very excited about the new features we're releasing and finally opening up the game to at least the blockchain masses before later this year we get ready to go live to the general masses.
Beautiful. Well, moving on to our next question for everyone in the group. So a big theme in Web3 and Web3 gaming specifically is that we really need the Web2 traditional gamers to enter the space for this all to work. What do you think actually needs to happen with Web3 enabled games for that to actually happen and to achieve that goal?
Maybe I start this time. So for us, it's a Web2 game completely. NFTs are just the icing on the cake. You don't ever need to buy a blueprint. They just give you access to designs of armor pieces and weapons that look more interesting and cooler. It's a vanity item. The game comes with in-game blueprints from the start. You have all the blueprints you ever need the moment you start the game. You also have an in-game Oogie, and you can do anything the game offers. You will never need to buy an Oogie, but you will also never be able to sell that Oogie when he's a high-level Oogie. So the two gamers can play, and we're going to make it cross-play with the Steam version. So right now it's on Epic. We're on the Epic Store already, and players can join it and add us to their wish list. It will sell through the Epic Store in with beta at the end of the year. Right now, if you want to already get in, you buy the alpha access on our website. But now I lost my train of thought.
I'll just jump in. I think more generally for this question, I think less about your game specifically, but more generally, as the Web3 community and building games, how can we achieve that?
Point. So you have to take away this barrier that you need to get a wallet to play the game, right? In our game, everybody can play. They don't need a wallet. They don't need to understand blockchain at all. You can just start playing. That's the key. You need to have a game that is fun to play without any of your blockchain aspects. And then once the player is hooked and he loves the game, he will eventually find out about what the blockchain aspects bring to his experience on top that add to that experience. And we've seen that with the community that already has NFTs. They chat with the other guys that don't have it, and after a fight, a Web2 gamer asks the other guy, "Hey, where did you get that helmet? Looks so kick-ass." And the other guy says, "Well, I make them as NFTs. If you try downloading a wallet, I can send you one to try it, right?" So it's the adoption needs to come from in your games community, that the ones that are already on there help the other ones onboarding. And it's a viral growth because they believe in the power of blockchain, and when they can monetize on it, they will also be in the same boat of they want the game to succeed, right? If you own a crafting recipe and you plan to craft skins as NFTs and sell them, you want the game to have as many gamers as you want, right? So your gamers become a marketing force behind the game while the game grows. and more players come in, and initially they have to know nothing about blockchain, and then eventually, if they're curious enough, they go and get themselves involved step by step. But the hurdles have to be removed as much as you can.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. I saw some really interesting tech at 3XP, and it was cool because the last couple of conventions I've gone to, I've been really looking for tech to to smooth out some of these roadblocks. And of course, I think as content creators, sometimes you are at the whim of the industry to create really great solutions to address some of our biggest issues. But just recently, I've seen third parties that are creating awesome tech to really help us scale the blockchain component. So with I think everything Ralph said is completely true, and I think that most successful games in the Web3 space are really going to feel more like a Web 2.5 experience, where there's a playability of some version of the game without without Web3 capabilities, but you can then scale that up and potentially access the game economy through Web3, and that's how we're building Legions. I think that's going to be the model that prevails. However, I've seen some interesting stuff in the last month that has really made me really encouraged about where this is all going. For example, until recently, I hadn't seen a really good solution for signing transactions within Unreal Engine via MetaMask. And I was introduced to a project at this gaming conference that is doing it through an overlay, but it's super smooth and integrates directly with MetaMask and allows you to sign transactions from within Unreal, or at least it feels that way, right, from a UI perspective. So it's that to me is an incredibly important solution, and I think that that there's a couple companies working on solutions like that. I think the other part of what Ralph was saying was onboarding people to Web3, and right now there's 30 different blockchains, there's 50 different wallets, and each one of them have their claim to fame as to why they're the best and most efficient. I think that in order for a game to really efficiently onboard Web2 users to Web3, it has to be super seamless. The purchasing process has to be super fast. The ownership aspect has to be super fast. Things like back-ending gas and using extremely efficient blockchains in order to kind of make transactions seamless is super important. I think account abstraction with people, through like things like Web3 auth are going to help create that Web 2.5 experience where with certain wallets and platforms, you'll have the option not to personally sign every transaction, which will give, I think, Web 2 gamers the ownership layer of Web 3 without a lot of the clunkiness, and you can have a non-custodial wallet without, signing issues and whatnot. So creating kind of that in between is what I was most excited about in the last couple of weeks, and that actually probably leads into one of our next questions. But that was something that really stood out. That the tech for the UI and tech to back blockchain games is getting way better, and it's going to make doing a lot of things within client much easier, which I think is really going to propel a lot of these blockchain games forward.
I think a couple more things will propel Web3 gaming forward. I think true interoperability, not just between worlds, but just between all games out there, will really propel the industry. I do think that there needs to be more education regarding the NFT ownership. Like, I'll take an example, just that I'm familiar with in the traditional gaming industry, and that's with FIFA. For any of you that played FIFA, you're probably familiar with Ultimate Team Mode, which, yeah, you have to spend to have a halfway decent team, you need to spend a lot on player packs, or you just have to grind hundreds or even thousands of hours just to really get those top tier players and really be able to compete against the best of the best. I know that the top professional players and I get the most popular streamers will spend tens of thousands of dollars on these player packs. What happens when the next edition of FIFA comes out every single year? Oh, oops. I guess those player packs are worthless. You can't transfer them over. So you got to spend all that money again just to build a competitive team. So really just drilling into traditional gamers, the fact that you can own specific assets. Oh, they can be transferable between game to game. Will really strike a chord in them. I think the other big thing, is having tournaments. And as far as I know, the only Web3 game that has done a live tournament was Splinterlands. And the reason I know that is because they held a live event out here in Vegas at the HyperX Arena, which actually turned out to be a successful event for them. I mean, they packed the arena and had a lot of people watching on their Twitch and YouTube channels. So I think having the ability to create esports tournaments, really cultivate not just the popularity of players, but the fan bases, various gamer guilds, clans, all that I think will really help propel the Web3 gaming industry forward.
Awesome. So our last question before we wrap up here, more of a fun question. So, actually, really quickly before we do the last question, we actually have a giveaway that we do every single week here. So this week we're giving away an Eatmo Army NFT trading card, a rare one. So the winner this week is Mikhail Parawan at Mikhail Parawan. Congratulations. Send us a DM and we'll make sure to get you your prize. And make sure to join us every week, so that making sure that you can join and be able to win one next week. So moving on to our last question. So what has been one of your favorite moments in Web3 recently, either personally or in the news? And maybe Nick, you can start us off. Maybe something else from 3XP that you found interesting.
Yeah, I think I undercut myself on on this question because I was, just the fact that a conference like 3XP exists now, and the conferences that have happened in the last couple months, whether it was GDC, this 3XP conference, or even some of the NFT NYC type events. I went to Consensus NFT NYC. Seeing the games and having a Web3 gaming corner is something that I have been missing and wanting since 2017 when I got into the space. The use case for Web3 in gaming is so clear, and so it's disappointing to say the least that that Web3 gaming has been so rejected by the mainstream masses thus far, and I think that there's a ton of education that needs to happen um, in order for Web3 gamers or just general gamers to start to understand what you get with Web3. So seeing really quality graphics, decent gameplay loops, a lot of shooters, which is cool. Like I like shooters and I think gamers like shooters. And there was just a couple that were really high graphics quality and especially at GDC, which you've got people coming to check out games from everywhere. That's what you need. You need to kind of do those grassroots movements to showcase that hey, Web3 games can be as cool as Web2 games, and yes, they're being developed by indie studios, and very rarely are we going to have a Web3 game with true AAA quality because just the budget and teams aren't big enough to accomplish that in the time frame that we've been talking about. You look at great games, Diablo, which just released, took seven years to build. So when we talk about what we will eventually see, I think we're still a long way from there. But to really now be seeing the first wave of high fidelity games that have been built for the last 2 or 3 years, and that are Web3 have Web3 components, or something like Nine Lives, where it's a great game that's been built for a long time, and just now there's an opportunity to layer on Web3 components. I think you're going to see a lot more of that. Indie developers who have a good game and are looking for opportunities to do something a little bit different and trying to find ways of standing out within the kind of Web2 gaming space, adopting Web3 as a means of enhancing the game itself. So, I mean, for me, it was finally starting to see in these last couple months good looking games that are set to hit the market in the next 3 to 6 months, at least in alpha or beta. And I got excited. It made me really encouraged, because this has to be a space wide thing. If we release a really cool game in Satoshi's Legion, it's great, and people can point to it as an example of a high fidelity fun game that has Web3. But we need 50 of those in order for this to really take hold, and all those projects need to be working together, because interoperability, for example, isn't going to happen unless we do that. And it's nice to see that the overall landscape of Web3 gaming is getting a lot better, and starting to prepare itself for kind of an industry launch, which I think will happen in the next year to 2 years. So that was what was most exciting for me.
Ralph or Jeff, do you have any moments recently that have stand out to you?
Yeah, for me, I think it's still the fact that Epic allowed NFT and blockchain games on their store, and all three of us, like Altaverse and Satoshiverse and us, we are on Epic, right? We're using Unreal, and now seeing I want to already call it the second generation of Web3 games, they are so different than what we saw when they started a few years back, and they were all like very simple and copycat browser games or whatnot, what have you. And it has already coming a long way. And I have a lot of respect for everybody right now in this space, because everybody here is a pioneer, and it takes a lot of footwork. It's not easy. I know there's a lot of pain for all of us. So, but we are the ones that breaking the ice for everybody to follow. And there's a saying like the second mouse gets the cheese, because for those that come after us, it's going to be much more easy. We're fighting with all these things: how to onboard Web2 gamers, how to make it easy, how to make it accessible, how to broaden up, and how to get rid of the bad sentiment around it all. And eventually, it will just happen. So yeah, I'm to see people that are still in this space with passion. Just is for me the best.
For me personally, yeah, there's been a lot of crap that has come out in the news about Web3. I mean, everyone's here, I'm sure, heard about the Binance lawsuit and the unfortunate incidents that, yeah, I think what was it, 13 total companies were listed as securities, and that included the Metaverse projects such as Decentraland and Sandbox, which is unfortunate for Web3 and Web3 gaming as a whole. A couple things have stand out, and I'll give EA a little bit of credit here, because I kind of took a dump on them earlier. They did partner with Nike for NFTs. I do think that is a big partnership in the gaming industry. Hopefully, it's more than skins. It's kind of a wait and see, but I do think that there's a lot of untapped potential, just even in character customization in sports games, that can happen between those two. Another big event, AI NPCs. I can't emphasize enough how important that is going to be for not just us and other game creators, looking to import those, but also in our ecosystem. Just for example, individuals with no coding experience can import AI-based NPCs. I really think that's just going to transform strategy, but like how to play various games. Like people could play the same game in many different ways and get different results. I really I'm so excited for AI to make its way into games and to see what happens with it.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Well, this has been a really fun conversation. Really great having you guys both on here. I'm going to kick it back to Nick to close us out.
Yeah, no, as always, great talk. Thank you both so much for being on this panel. We really excited. We've had you on in the past and really excited to hear about all the progress and updates. And you guys are definitely on the top of my list for projects that I'm excited for and that are getting so close to feeling good about, showing everybody what they've been building. And I know we're there too. So huge kudos to all of you for continuing to build. This has been a pleasure. Thank you to everyone who joined in person. And, we have a big contingency that watches the recordings. So very, very happy that people are coming out to these Twitter spaces and watching them every week. It definitely reinforces our belief that what we're doing is important and special. And we love to have these conversations with some of the top projects and thought leaders in the space to show everybody that the space is continuing to move forward. And I think it's so important that everyone kind of gets out there with their megaphones and continues to talk about Web3 and the things it's going to unlock for the industry, because it's probably not going to be Activision that leads the way on this model, or even Epic with Fortnite. I think it's going to be the consumers and just the gamers who need to really understand that Web3 is a consumer-driven model, and that it should be the future of asset ownership. And so I'm just really really excited to keep having these conversations. Thank you all for joining. Please come by next week, and we'll see you all there. Thanks so much to everyone. If you want to say anything to close, please feel free. But otherwise, we'll close it out.
Yeah, again, thank you for having me on again. I look forward to the next space. Ralph, yeah, Nick, it is great talking to all of you again. I guess my closing thing, I just want to emphasize one more time, is that check out the Altiverse website. Our next closed beta session is June 23rd. You'll be able to download the link for it. We got some great mini games that we've already started, various racing games. We'll also, there'll be a demolition derby. It'll be a lot to do in the second phase of our closed beta. So, love to see you on there. Shoot the shit, or just even if you want to troll or try to break the game. I'm happy to break the game alongside with you.
I love
Yeah,
it.
I also just want to say thank you for having us. And Nick, if you can let me know what kind of technology that was that you were talking about for Unreal with the transaction, would be nice. And everybody, thanks for listening. And if anybody wants to check out our game, we currently have a fishing tournament going inside the game, competitive fishing with a high stake NFT prices. So around $50,000 worth of NFTs. So that might be interesting to some of you. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thanks for coming on. And the company is actually called Hyperplay. So if you're looking at, that's the one that lets
I
you.
thought you meant hyperplay, but I was just interested to see if there's something else. But yeah, I saw it. It's great. We're actually on it right now.
Yeah, no, I saw the game. I think that's where I saw Nine Lives recently. It's on the launcher. Yeah, they're doing great stuff, and they just closed a big round. So really excited for the potential that launchers are going to have for the space as well. But we'll talk about that more next time. I'm excited to keep this conversation going.
Like.
Thank you all, and we will talk soon. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.